All right, Ryan. Ryan, calm it down with those hot takes so people can hear you.
I'm sorry.
Calm down.
You just sometimes the people just need to know the spice, Sean.
Put your pants on, Ryan. We're live on the internet.
Please, I'm not wearing pants right now. What makes you think I'm actually wearing?
All right, well then don't move. Don't get up.
I mean, I don't have any show and tell today, luckily, so that's good.
Oh, I got show and tell. I loaded up on comics last Christmas. And I haven't read any of these things, and I've got to read this. I've got to. Seth made mention of this last night. I think it's during the post show for the Nintendo show, which is new, and that might be something we bring up in the Patreon shout out as well. That's we haven't we just kind of did it last week, and we could probably announce it. It actually really makes up for the fact that I'm not doing pants weekly. So I got to do pants tonight though. But this is a whole thing, Ryan. I got to talk about my cramming for the Game of the Year exam.
Of course. I'm excited to talk about it when we get to the playlist because I feel like we need to, get Sean's, checklist out and make sure to give you assign a letter grade to you for each one of the games that you played.
Yeah, I got to get on it, man. There's so I've got magazines up here, I got comics in my hands, I got books to read, movies to watch, podcasts to do.
I mean, I've kind of resigned myself to the idea that I'm not basically playing anything but the late November and December releases pretty much for the rest of the year at this point.
Oh, well, so should I play? I bought Sonic Frontiers. Did we go over what day is it today? Did we do Black Friday?
We went over Black Friday stuff.
What we bought?
Yeah.
The last we were talking about. You were trying to explain to me Resident Evil, which I didn't buy any of them.
Oh, okay.
I talked myself out of it
because I mentioned what I got for Black Friday, and to be fair, I besides the Switch expansions, I did get 2 Nintendo Switch games, but I didn't get any games on Xbox.
YouTube shows to do, Sean. Yes, I've got YouTube shows to do. Court Lalonde. I've got all the children to raise. That's the thing. So sometimes, Ryan, I don't know if I've ever expressed this to you, but I sometimes will I'll get my to-do list going on, and I'm like, this is the stuff I've got to get done this week, and it's all content and whatever else and a couple work things, and I'm like, oh yeah, my family. where do I make sure that I actually give my kids a hug and eat dinner with them, etc.
But you did describe a magical moment yesterday where you guys were watching the Mario trailer together.
Oh, it was the best,
which I appreciate.
They are stoked about that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I can't see, Ryan. Did you know that that's what that says? I can't see.
I learned by watching the 4.5 hour episode of Sweet Hangs.
We're gonna have to start releasing Sweet Hangs on extended edition and theatrical release DVD sets, I think.
Yep. Or I'm ready for us to cut the special edition version of each episode to then add some CG characters from Star Wars in there.
I like it. Well, the reason that's top of mind is because I have been watching some of the Lord of the Rings movies, and I don't know what it is this time of year. I think the Lord of the Rings originally came out around Christmas. Maybe
it was the holidays every year. Every December there was a new one.
Dude, oh man, you and I could talk for hours. Goodness gracious.
Probably. Y'all were talking about 4K movies on the show, and I'm like, I just got a whole bunch of 4K movies during Black Friday.
So did I. They're right here. They're right here in my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings. So the reason I bring it up is I was watching Fellowship on Amazon Prime for a little bit, and then I bought this and I stopped watching that, and then they started going over here. And the scenes that are added, I don't know if you've ever done the theatrical comparison to the extended in recent memory. It's wild what they cut out, man. It's the way Isildur or whatever
Isildur.
Yeah, the way he dies is way different in the it just explains it way better. How he ends up with 3 arrows in his back. It's because he was swimming after the ring. That's not clear in the theatrical version. He's riding his horse, and they're like, the ring betrayed him, and then he's dead in the river.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, they cut so much because there was an hour and a half of footage that they cut.
Yes,
in there because it was interesting because when Return of the King came out, they actually did a screening where when they would do that, you watch Fellowship of the Ring and then Two Towers, and then at midnight they would play Return of the King. So because it was the day that it came out. So I ended up doing that where I actually watched all 3 movies in a row, all 3 theatrical versions in a row. And I thought that was a slog, but then again, going like revisiting, the extended edition all these years later, I'm like, man, not only are the extended editions way better,
Yeah.
but they're also just way longer. So it's just so much of a time commitment to watch them. But they're really, really good still, especially like the fact that they have to fit on two 4K discs.
I
'cause
know.
the
I
movies are
was
so long.
shocked.
It's
I was
like,
shocked to see that the story continues on disc 2. I'm like, we're still doing this, huh? Okay. I'll make sure to rewind the tape before actually swapping this thing out,
Yeah. Well, at least there's no previews or anything you really have to skip through with disc 2. Disc 2 is just like it just picks up, right where you kind of left off. So it's a very seamless transition.
Locklith is commenting the fact that I'm not wearing a hat or hoodie today. I'm in the middle of a work day, of course. We all know this. But the jacket has to stay on because I have not ironed my shirt, Ryan.
Oh, of course.
So mostly like the part of the shirt that you can really see, like it's mostly covered by the microphone. So I will stand here because it's not like I like a little bit more crisp. But I'm very happy. I've been doing a lot of running, a lot of exercising and stuff. This is an older shirt that would fit me normally before the pandemic. Then all the weight gain happened. But I'm fitting back in my pre-pandemic clothes, man. I'm pretty happy about that. Not gonna lie.
That's awesome, dude. It's almost like you went and just bought like a whole new wardrobe that you
totally. I've
didn't have to
unlocked
pay
it
for.
again. Yep, exactly. Oh man, sport coat definitely is. That's what you got to do. I got this in New York. This is it's gonna sound bougie, but it's not. I got it very cheap. It's a Hugo Boss jacket, Ryan Turford.
That's very bougie, Sean.
But I got it off the discount rack at Macy's in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where it's like, fresh off the boat or it just fell off the truck.
I think it fell off the truck. I think fresh off the
Yeah.
boat, something else. But
Yeah.
you want to do this thing?
Yeah, we should probably do it.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Brian Murford, the weatherman on the moose. And on our journey today, we're going to talk about the hoodies for the controllers because that's the best thing that we could possibly be chatting about today. So jump on into the Xbox Drive.
Greater than X.
Brian Murford, the weatherman on the moose. I know that I am on a Discord call with you right now, but Skype call is the original script, and I'm not changing it until we close this whole thing down. How are you doing, my friend?
But I mean, you've already changed the script to say you're not in a car anymore.
That's true. And for some reason, I'm hung up on that. But I'm glad you bring it up, Ryan, because next week, I think we're going to do the dang thing. I think I'm going to McDonald's.
So. I mean, it's almost like I brought that up for a reason, Sean.
I'm glad you did. Yeah. We've been doing this a while.
We finally, I think, fingers crossed, have figured out
we figured it
the
out.
signal issue. So I think we may have the technology to make a live streamed Xbox Drive from the car.
I re-downloaded Skype on my phone. We'll go back to Skype. Yes.
No, we're not going back to Skype.
We're not going back to Skype. No.
We're, we will probably be doing the show on Discord because I mean, otherwise, it'll be too hard probably to do the live stream with Skype because Skype's weird.
Skype is weird. It formats your Windows side. Nobody cares about this, man. What is going on? How have you not told me about the weather yet? I'm actually feeling a little weird about this. I feel like
I'm
rain
doing
and hail.
Okay, Sean.
Okay. Now you're gonna do that.
I've been getting a lot more sleep lately because apparently I like to sleep until 2 p.m. every day now.
That's good. Is that a real thing?
It is a real thing. Yesterday, I literally woke up 10 minutes before I was supposed to go to the office. So it's just, that's just become a thing now. Whereas, I've been, staying up until 5 a.m. So
fair enough.
I've fallen into this bad pattern. I need to correct the pattern a little bit, Sean. I need to, get back on top of my sleep schedule a little bit. Maybe curb my sleep schedule to kind of go to bed more at like the 2 to 3 a.m. kind of thing, and then wake up at, noon or 11 in the morning. Even.
That is much sleep.
I know. It's too much.
Oh, dude, I had an argument with myself this morning, right? My alarm went off, and I'm like, I really, really I'm so comfortable, and it's so cold outside. There's like cold warnings since you asked about the weather. It's so like the roads are skating rinks, as they say. But you know what, man? I'm proud of myself because I got up, went to the gym, did a 5K run, and had a great workout, and I was like, really talking myself out of it. I'm like, I don't want to do this at all. And I totally did it. And I feel great. if not a little slimy, greasy, sweaty today. But I did my thing, so no matter what else happens, I got up, I got after it, feel good about it. We've got so many video games to talk about me eventually getting around to playing. And all of our friends are here, by the way, at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. Everybody's here. What the heck is going on?
Here. Everyone is also here telling us that Skype is garbage as well. There is that along with it. But anyways, we should probably get into the show proper. So folks at home, if you want to support the show, if you like what we do here at Carpool Gaming, don't forget to like the live stream, subscribe to us if you haven't subscribed already on YouTube, and then let us know in the comments below what you think about, controller hoodies or Need for Speed Unbound or like anything else we talk about on the show today. We would love to hear from you.
Tell us about the weather. Let's get a whole list of comments on the YouTube video. Just like, how's the weather where you're at? Is it hot? Is it warm? You want to give us like the barometric pressure or whatever? Come on, man. Let's do it.
I mean, Toronto just doesn't want to make up its mind about the weather, but that's the Toronto weather, and you didn't ask me about the weather, so I won't tell you about that.
Yeah, I normally don't have to.
I know. Well, also, if you are listening on audio feeds, don't forget to hit that subscribe button there as well, and then rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you're listening on those locations. By the way, huge shout out to anyone who's looking at their Spotify Wrapped and tweeting at us, saying that the Xbox Drive or a Carpool Gaming podcast of some kind is on your Spotify Wrapped. That's super awesome.
I was just looking at that, man. Dude, I'm struggling to find it. There was somebody who just tagged us.
Ham.
Thank you, Tori. Dude, alongside like the legend, I was going to say Ryan Turford, Ryan McCaffrey, like right up there with all those crew, man. That's awesome. I love to see it.
Miles Demper's in there too. Okay. He's
I don't know Miles actually. My apologies. I don't get around to, I'm listening to, for some reason, Kevin Ainsworth over at Save the Game Media. I'm like, I guess that's what my life decisions are looking like these days, man. What do I know?
Exactly. So huge shout out to everyone who's been doing that. And I imagine, since everyone is, Spotify Wrap just went live this morning, the day that we're recording this. So I imagine we might get a few more of those as the day progresses. But huge shout out to everyone who did that. Also, if you want the show a little bit early, or if you want some exclusive content, like the 4.5 hour episode of Sweet Hangs, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/carpool gaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar, just like Sean Hennigan and Kevin Ainsworth, who both re-signed up for the Patreon at that exclusive tier. Huge shout out to them for supporting the show and for, of course, getting that sweet content. I think Kevin actually put in the Discord, he's like, all right, I've resubscribed to Patreon, and here's my giant list of Patreon podcasts to go through, because there's a lot of stuff on Patreon, folks. So definitely go do that. And then last but not least, if you want an Xbox Drive t-shirt, head on over to our merch store, bit.ly/CPG merch. We've also got some other cool merch over there, like maybe a new shirt that's coming out soon that patrons voted on. So go check that out as well. But anyways, enough about all that. Let's grab our A-tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist, and we got games to talk about this week.
We got games.
Sean, I mean, first of all, it is that time of year. We're still in the midst of review season, because I think when Crisis Core finally comes out on the 13th of December, Sean, we'll finally get our reprieve from review season for at least a month, and then we'll be back in it again.
Yeah.
But we got new games coming out this week. So did you play anything? I know that you've got you're working on your final exam for Game of the Year stuff. So tell me what's going on with that.
Yeah, so we'll eventually get to the one game that we both touched for at least a little while. I have a problem, Ryan. We are now scheduled to record our end of the year Game of the Year conversation. We have just one of my favorite things that we do any year is get as many people as possible all on the same call. We chat about the year, celebrate, have good times, and I haven't played enough games, Ryan. I feel underprepared. I knew I was going to. I really always try to tell myself, it's not a big deal. I'll just play whatever I want. And I look back on this year, and I spent most of it playing Forza Horizon 5, which I don't regret. But as far as talking about this entire year of games, there's a list of stuff that I haven't gotten around to yet. So the way I'm going to tackle this, I think, is I want to stream this. I want to make this at least, you're got to make it content. Yeah. I'm cramming for a final exam is basically the idea here. So I've got to be flipping through my textbooks, trying to take in as much as I possibly can between now and then. Who knows the consumption of energy drinks and terrible caffeine things that will take place here. But it will happen here at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. And I've got to get through a whole bunch of stuff, man, because you guys all played all the games. I just bought a bunch of stuff on Black Friday. So I'm well positioned. I just got to make sure that it actually happens, dude.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, it's just one of those things where you don't necessarily need to catch up to everyone. It's the nice thing about it, and we've pointed this out multiple times. The nice thing about us at Carpool Gaming is like everyone has like different tastes. So in a way, we've kind of played almost every game that's come out this
Right.
year between all of us. Like even me, I haven't played everything. There's lots of stuff that I haven't played too, and there's actually like
Lots of
a few
stuff.
things I want. Believe it or not, Sean, there is a lot of stuff that I missed out on, especially Nintendo games in particular this year. Honestly, like this year in particular for me was the Switch kind of took a nosedive for me personally, where it was like I just wasn't playing my Switch nearly as much as I was the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm playing it more now because I'm playing Pokemon, but beyond that, there's it's the game I've probably sunk the most time in on Switch all year at this point, which is just crazy to think about when you think about the state of that.
Crazy is one word to say. Yeah.
Hey,
that
it's
is
not
a
crazy when the
choice.
price is free. Okay?
So
It
you're
changes
saying
the
you're
equation.
saying that you've missed games to play this year, and you're spending your time playing it on a broken ass Pokemon game. What are you doing, man?
What can I say? It's fun. It's fun. It's honestly the most fun I've had with Pokemon in the last 10 years.
Well, Pokemon Arceus is on my list, actually, of the games that I would like to dive a little bit more into. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, also on Nintendo. Stray is on the list, which I could play on PlayStation. Cult of the Lamb I want to finish. Cult of the Lamb I feel like I can speak to on that conversation, but I want to finish that game. That was really good. Vampire Survivors, dude, is like taking the internet by storm. And I think that might be where I start, because I think that's also... That would make for some sweet streaming content, Ryan.
It's also a very casual game too, where you hop in and hop out kind of thing. It's not like there's a story there or anything like that. It's not like a very long experience too. But it might hook you in a way where you're so addicted that you can't stop playing, and then you don't get around to any of these other games. So you do have to be cognizant of that.
Well, and I feel like it's part of a category of games that isn't necessarily like critically acclaimed. It represents the future of gaming, and it's the poster of what 2022 gaming was like. But I feel like games like that, games like the Cowabunga Collection, Sonic Frontiers, Dying Light 2, like these are games that I just went and bought for Black Friday sales. And again, they're not going to be anybody's, I don't think, game of the year. I'm not playing them to say, should I consider these for my top spot? But I think that they are part of a conversation that, as I alluded to at the start, like celebrates what I think we'll discover is a super fun year of gaming. And we do this every year where we go, oh, I guess it was kind of a slow year. It's like, dude, it wasn't 1998 or 2007 or whatever, like some of the banner years. But I don't think that ever means that we had a soft year of games. Like, I think what we'll find out is we had a tremendous amount of variety, especially what we played here at Carpool Gaming. And that's all I want to do. I just want an excuse to get to these games and a way to just do the dang thing,
For sure. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that it's going to be, like Sonic, for example, it's not going to be anyone's game of the year. I can 100% guarantee you, Sean, during our Carpool Gaming show, someone will have Sonic Frontiers in their top 3.
That's awesome,
100%. Someone will have it there.
Yep.
In the same way that, like, I can almost guarantee that someone will have Pentiment in there. Or,
that's also on my list.
I not think about. So yeah, like I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff there. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to be, I think, more of a more balanced conversation versus last year when we did our Game of the Year show, where it was like Tales of Arise and a couple other games, and then those were like the 4 or 5 games we mostly talked about. Whereas, and they kind of crossed over between a bunch of us. Mm-hmm. Whereas this year, I don't know if there's going to be much crossover at all. I feel like all of us are going to have very different answers.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It's going to be fun for a fun conversation.
Big time.
Should be good.
Yep.
But yeah. As for me, I played a lot of World of Warcraft this week because I was getting ready for
you big dork.
the new expansion. I streamed it, of course. I did a World of Warcraft specific episode of the RPG Cave with Lachlan and Seth, which you can go listen to over on the channel as well. Which, by the way, shout out to Lachlan and Seth. That was a really fun episode to do.
Oh.
And yeah, I haven't really dove into the expansion itself. I was mostly getting my characters ready to go. And especially like yesterday was my day to play it, and I spent all my time playing the other game that we're about to talk about that we both played.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I think it was more important, I think, that I play this game first for the show, and then I can play World of Warcraft at any time. Plus, the WoW servers were jammed with people trying to get to all the objectives at once, which doesn't make for a fun game play experience anyways. It's usually better to wait a couple days after launch to get into a new expansion anyways.
That's
it
fair.
Worked out okay.
Yep.
But yeah, so
Blizzard, they can't afford all those servers, so they gotta figure
it's not
something
that.
out.
It's more along the lines of like, hey, sometimes you'll have a quest to go kill a certain enemy, but the respawn timer is only so fast when there's like 50 people waiting at the same objective as you to then kill.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the bigger problem you run into when you do a day one expansion launch for World of Warcraft. But the other game that we've both been playing, at least a little bit. I know, Sean, you only played for, about half an hour or so. But I played it for about 3 hours yesterday.
Wow.
Actually, I was having a lot of fun. Need for Speed Unbound. The Need for Speed series is back.
Wow.
It's the first game in the series since Need for Speed Heat. It's also the first game in the series in a long time from Criterion. So the makers of the Burnout series, which of course gets me excited because my favorite racing series of all time is the Burnout series.
You're not alone on that, dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there like that.
And Sean, from how how I feel about racing games, so you can definitely tell that I must really like this game a lot if I'm seem this excited about a racing game, because racing games aren't really like even my jam. But ever since they kind of showed like the first trailer for this, I'm like, I thought the style they were going for, like this like animated like rotoscope kind of style, was interesting. But like I was a little skeptical of it at first.
Big time. Yep.
But man, playing this game, like I love the style that they went for with this game, and I'm totally glad they made that decision. And it's less so in the cutscenes they have, because first of all, this game's like got a full story that you go through. It's like it's a very like kind of forgettable street racer kind of like Fast and Furious kind of storyline. It's fine. It exists. It kind of gets you exists to get you from place to place. But man, the racing in this, I love the effects while you're driving. Like when you drift, it's got like these like animated kind of smoke behind your car, or the way that your car lights up when you can use different moves. Because if you use nitrous oxide at specific times, for example, like if a car is coming up beside you, if you time it correctly, like wings will pop out of the side of your car and then knock the car to your right, like off the road. So like I love just the act of playing this game. It's a ton of fun to play, and I've been really enjoying it. It's definitely like one of my biggest surprises of the year, because after the last few Need for Speed games, I wasn't expecting much. My expectations were very low for this game, and they totally blew me away. But I want to know what you think as the racing expert, even though you haven't touched it for that long. I want to know what you think about it.
I've only been touching it for a short period of time. I have to undo my brain from driving Forza Horizon 5, and I think that may be something that a few other people might have to come to grips with when playing this game, because it's an arcade racer, like to the truest extent. People will talk about Forza Horizon 5 or Forza Horizon just in general versus Motorsport and go like, oh yeah, Horizon's the arcade racer. It's like, no, there's another level of arcade. Yeah. Like there's not really a heck of a lot of realism in the driving here. So I had to kind of undo a lot of what I thought the car was going to do. By the way, what junker did you choose a junker at the start to restore? What car did you pick?
I went with the Nissan.
Me too. Nissan. Look at us. Yeah, you could
go.
With
I usually, when I play Gran Turismo games, because that's the other racing series I'm really into, I always go with the Nissan cars. So that's why when there was a Nissan car of one of the three to start with, I was like, I'm going with that. That's my starter, because you basically have like a Pokemon starter choice at the beginning.
That's so true. That's a good way to put it. One, it's Nissan, I think Lamborghini, and a Dodge Challenger. Like such a weird variety. And yeah, I was curious to see if you would have gone with the Lamborghini. So yeah, I spent basically the first race undoing my mind of like how this is going to work. You're right. It really centers on doing a lot of drifting and kind of Daredevil type of stuff, like near misses and driving on the other side of the road. And I'm trying to remember like back in the day of Need for Speed and just the joy of just racing around. And it's actually the open world. And again, I've only played for about a half an hour, but it was the open world that I was really happy to see kind of grab me as much as it has in the short period of time, because Forza Horizon is the open world. That's the one I want to be driving around in. But this game, it's super fun. I'm glad to hear that it sounds like there's even more that's I'm still waiting to unlock.
Oh yeah, you unlock so much more in the open world when you finish the prologue.
Yeah.
For the game, like there's because it's the open world is very limited when you start, but you unlock a whole bunch of stuff to then a bunch of collectibles on the map, to like road signs and stuff to drive through. Like it feels very much like Burnout Paradise in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So if you've played Burnout Paradise before, folks at home, and you like that game, honestly, I think you're going to probably
way better soundtrack this time.
Yes. Yes.
No Guns N'
The
Roses.
soundtrack of this is dope.
It's
I
pretty
actually
good.
really like the soundtrack of this game as well. And yeah, lots of drifting, but also what's cool about this game is it's got like these high stakes events that you enter. So you'll enter these low stakes events that have, no barrier of entry, but then some of the night courses require you to buy into your to enter. And if you lose, you then lose your money. And normally, in a normal racing game, you have unlimited retries to go through a course. But when you finish a course in this game, you only have a certain number of retries per day-night cycle that you're on. So for example, if you're racing at night, you only have, on normal difficulty, you have 4 retries for the entire night. So you kind of have to like pick and choose your battle, especially because some nights have like 6 or 8 races in them if you choose to do all of them with all the buy-ins. But like even some of the early buy-ins is like, one of the buy-ins was like $30,000, and I'm like, I don't have that much, and that only would have had that if I did every single race and getting in first place every time.
Yeah.
So they have like an interesting system here with how the story progresses. There's also an online mode as well with kind of like a free form open world that you can drive around with your friends in as well. I didn't get a chance to try that at all. I think that's kind of next on my radar because the trial does end around when the prologue ends as far as the story is concerned. But then you can play the rest of your 10-hour trial doing the online PvP stuff or PvE stuff if you want to.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to clarify. You and I are both playing the 10-hour trial that's available on EA Play thanks to Game Pass, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of
which is, I think, the best way to
there.
try out this game.
Agreed.
Because if you're on the fence with something like this, because it gives you a lot of game there. Because again, the story gives you about 3 hours of story combined with, the online multiplayer that you can play for 7 hours at that point.
That's awesome.
Before, deciding whether or not you want to pick up this game, on Friday. Because its official release date is Friday. Tuesday was just the release of the special edition, the Palace edition of the game. So if you do have that version, it's out right meow. But either way, I'm excited to play more of this game, believe it or not. And I'm tempted, Sean. I'm tempted to actually.
Ooh.
I'm tempted.
That's cool, man. I think for me personally, it's just exciting to hear that maybe Need for Speed is back. Like it's been so long since we had anything that was even remotely coming up on Forza Horizon. It's just been like, why play anything else? But like, this is genuinely a different experience. It's not the same, just slightly different. This is its own unique thing, its own unique style. I love, you kind of alluded to it, but like even the characters and their animation kind of style, but sitting in a more realistic like looking car looks awesome. Like you look over and like they're driving, but they're like these, it's almost like like Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of thing. Where it's like this animation, but within a like CGI kind of car looking thing. Like it looks really cool, dude.
Yeah, and it totally gives off like Need for Speed Underground vibes as well, like the GameCube and original Xbox Need for Speed series with when they tried to do street racing there.
Street racing, yeah.
And even plays very similarly to those games as well. So yeah, there's a lot to like with this one. And yeah, to your point, I'm glad Need for Speed's back. I think this series really needed a win because if this one flopped, I think it might have been done. So
they put it with its best chance. So with Criterion, like this is the only way that it was going to have a fighting chance is to get a great developer with the pedigree that they've got to put this on. It's Need for Speed means a lot to a lot of people, dude. So that's really exciting. My only regret, Ryan, is that we did not choose this for our Fantasy Critic League against Joseph and Kyle at the PlayStation Trophy Room podcast.
It's true. Yeah. And again, that just comes down to us just being really worried about the game because, none of the past Need for Speeds reviewed well, but I should have known though, because it was Criterion and the last Need for Speed game that they developed, Hot Pursuit, was also really good. So
oh man. But we still don't know if it's going to, like, we still don't, there's no reviews, I don't think yet.
Yeah. There's no reviews yet.
So we don't know.
I don't even know if they send out early copies for this game. So yeah, because I haven't heard of anyone talk about it. So yeah, I guess reviews we'll start probably seeing them before the end of the week, I'm guessing, for this game.
Yeah. I just love seeing that also that you can release a game in December.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot still to go. Still a couple games.
There's so many games in December, Sean.
Midnight Suns reviews came out and it looks like the previews maybe were misleading. It looks like this game might actually be good. So hopefully, are you checking that one out? Are you buying that one? That's a you type of game, I think.
I'm actually pretty excited for that, especially after the reviews, because like you know me with tactical games. I love tactical RPGs. And it seems like a perfect fit with Marvel. I don't know how I feel about the card stuff.
Yeah.
But from the reviews, it sounds like it's pretty good. So I'm actually pretty excited to check that out. But again, it's on the list of, I'm like pretty excited for almost every December major December release. The only
Yep.
one I'm not like super, sold on yet is Dragon Quest Treasures.
Yeah.
But otherwise everything else, Callisto, Crisis Core,
Oh my
River City Girls
gosh.
2, like
Oh
I'm
my
pretty much sold
gosh.
I'm pretty much sold on everything for December at this point.
Crazy. Oh my God,
And the
dude.
Need for Speed just adding to it. Just throw it on the pile of games to play.
I'm already cramming for my final exam, and there's still chapters being added to the book. Like, what is happening here, man? How are we supposed to do this?
Again, it's gonna make my list for Game of the Year during our Corporal Gaming Show very interesting, because I think there's a chance that some of these games coming out in December might just be my favorite games coming out this year. So they
Nice.
might actually sneak their way on. Oh, Sean, I forgot to mention this in our cleaning the garage before we transition to breaking news. I have to mention, we are doing our Game of the Year show, of course, later next month, but we will actually on Friday be releasing to the community a way for you to actually become part of the show. We will be requesting the community, either if you want to be involved, you can record like a video message of talking about your favorite games of the year, or an audio clip, or we'll actually have like a Google Drive form that y'all can fill out as well. So yeah, those will go up all to everyone on Friday in a post in the Discord, in case anyone is interested in being part of the Carpool Gaming Game of the Year show as well. So I wanted to promote that at least a little bit, so people start thinking at least a little bit as to planning some of that stuff out.
Oh, other thing to promote, Ryan, the Backtrackers. I got to pick the game. It's our video game book club. Join our Discord. Everybody should be in there. I just saw Marcus O'Neill finish the game of choice that we're going to be meeting the morning of December 17th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Return to Monkey Island. The Return? Secret? We're returning to Monkey Island. Point and click adventure. It's on Game Pass. It's on all of the things. Play it. It's, I don't know, a dozen or so hours. And join us. Talk about this game. The Backtrackers is the best thing going in carpool gaming. We don't produce it. We don't publish it. It's just, you got to be there live. Otherwise, you miss it. And you don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss a thing, Ryan Turford.
You don't want to miss a thing, just like Aerosmith.
I don't want to close my eyes or miss the Backtrackers or fall asleep, because they don't want to miss a thing.
Anyways, I'm slamming the brakes on this conversation, Sean. It is time for some breaking news, because we're going from one silly thing to another, because with the announcement of new holiday products, Xbox have announced the newest accessory for your controller, the Xbox Mini Controller Hoodie. It is literally a mini hoodie that goes over your controller and is available for $34.95 Canadian, or I think $29.99 in the States.
Makes sense.
Sean, I
The
didn't know
best.
what you think about this thing, because because they didn't really have like a big formal announcement for it. I even went back and looked, because I'm like, did I miss them like trying to promote this or anything like that? No, it just showed up on the store. Like, it was just a normal thing that would just show up here. So I wanted to know what you think about this product, because it's something.
I'm totally in on this. You're right. I kind of went through the journey of like, is this like, this is real? And oh, snap, this is actually for real. So yeah, I'm all in. And from a kind of higher level, I would say, every time I go to like a GameStop, which isn't that often these days, there's merch for everything. There's ways to like buy in and celebrate and just collect various stuff for everything except Xbox. There's never anything. There's no good shirts or anything. There's no nothing. So the way that we have basically been like kind of cornered to collect Xbox stuff is like special edition controllers, and that's it. So now that we all have a bunch of controllers, which I think we just talked about last week, let's get them nice and cozy in these hoodies. And I just hope more of this stuff, more ridiculousness. It's video games. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. I'm totally getting at least one of these things. They might be a little pricey. $35 is not nothing. That's like for a thing that doesn't keep you warm.
That's before tax, and then if there's any shipping on top of that too. So
it should come with Game Pass, Aaron Greenberg. Why don't these things come with like a week of Game Pass or something, man? Holy cow.
Yeah.
But you know what? The other thing too, Ryan, you're not going to hear from anywhere else except for right here on the Xbox Drive. The reason why you want to get one of these little cozy hoodies for your controllers is it keeps the dust off.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Like, there's actually a practical use for this.
Definitely. Yeah.
Ways. So, like, because actually, like, I don't know how much you follow, retro game console accessories, Sean, but one of the biggest sellers in, retro console accessories is like a console dust cover, which is usually like a drawing of like a Super Nintendo on like a dust cover that then goes on top of your Super Nintendo to then keep the dust off your Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So this kind of totally reminded me of that, but just, with your controller. I'm actually waiting for them to do like a Series X or Series S, like kind of thing cloth that you put on top of your console while you're not using it, and then you just pull it off when you're ready to turn it on. And
here's the merch idea for the Series X. Okay, you can. Hi, Aaron Greenberg. Hi, Aaron Greenberg. Sean Capri, the Xbox Drive. Great to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. The merch idea that what everybody needs will fly off the shelf is just a little Christmas lights that plugs into the USB on the Series X and wraps around that sucker, clips on the top. Make it happen. Let's celebrate the holidays on your Series X. It would be amazing. Please, Aaron Greenberg, I believe in you, you big, beautiful man. Let's do it.
I'm only shaking my head at you because that idea sounds way too festive. And I don't know if I could get down with that. However, the Hoodie controllers, definitely I can get down for that.
What if you dress the Series X like the pole from Festivus?
No, that's even... Well, actually, no. Actually, that's a good idea.
That's a good one.
Yep. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I could deal with that.
All right, good.
So there you go. Xbox mini controller hoodies.
Oh yeah, the real thing
on the store. They look great. Again, just like you, I'm tempted to maybe get one of these for the holidays because they're very cute and adorable. And if nothing else, I can just try and have this little hoodie that I can put over my clothes, I guess, or do something with it.
Heck yes.
There we go. All right, next up, this story I had to throw in here. Mostly for fantasy league purposes, Sean, but also. I'm actually very excited about this game. WayForward have announced that they originally intended to launch the North American and European version of River City Girls 2 on December 1st, but due to an issue with publishing, because they're publishing it here in North America and Europe, but then Arc System Works is publishing it in Japan. The Japanese version of the game is still actually happening on December 1st, while the North American version, it will happen sometime before the end of December, they're saying. The Japanese version, of course, comes out tomorrow, and the physical copies actually include the North American version on the disc or cartridge if you actually order the Japanese
Interesting.
version. Like I am. My copy comes on Tuesday. So
really,
yeah. Because I missed out on the physical copies of River City Girls 1 and 2 because they were really expensive from limited run, whereas these went up around the same time on Japanese retailers. It was way cheaper to get a physical copy for this because it's a double pack. So it comes with River City Girls 1 and 2. So I'm actually very excited to get this Japanese one in next week. And I'll have stuff to say about it probably on next podcast, assuming it gets in on time. Because obviously, shipping from Japan can be kind of hit or miss. It might take a little bit longer to get here. But
Ryan, this reminds me of the old days where you'd import a Japanese copy to get some special insight into things that aren't available here in North America. Those are the good old days. I kind of like this.
Well, we're in a position, Sean. We're in a unique position where, of course, my plan is to review this game. We're on track to possibly be one of the very first reviewers to even review this game.
Amazing.
We got a Japanese copy coming.
Yes,
so,
I like it.
Yeah, which is just an interesting thought to think about. But also, our fantasy league with the trophy room, of course, Xbox Drive versus the trophy room, totally hinges on this game at this point. It is the one thing that will decide whether or not we win or lose this fantasy league against Mr. Badbit. He's very confident, though, Sean. I don't know if you've noticed. Mr. Badbit, very confident that he's already won at this point.
Unfounded confidence, obviously. Let's Pentiment go. We snatch it up, and man, that really served us well. He was like, Midnight Sun's not going to hit. What is it, at 83 right now? That's a pretty good score, man. I know he's got Callisto Protocol. We'll see. We will see about Callisto. I wanted to do well because I'm excited about that game, but I wanted to tank because F Joe, I'm
also very confident that Crisis Core and Callisto are just going to cancel each other out. They'll probably have very similar review scores. They might be off by 1 or 2 points, but they will be very similar. I mean, God forbid, did anyone else see the launch trailer for Crisis Core that came out yesterday? Hot dang, that game looks so good.
They launched it. They did it on the same as the Mario trailer day. Come on, man. We're all watching Mario.
Well,
yesterday.
it was 6 hours before the Mario trailer came out. So
that's fair.
There was a bit of excuse, but that game looks so good. I cannot wait for Crisis Core later in December. So there you go. River City Girls, though, too, looks fantastic as well. So look for me to maybe talk about it on next week's show. But moving on, we got to talk about some DLC that might actually interest Sean Capri over here. So 2 Point Campus is getting a brand new space-themed DLC.
Yes!
Called Twin Point Campus Space Academy, where you create your very own space school of the future.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I think it's $15. So yeah,
I'm down. Oh my gosh, there's so much cramming to do. That is so bizarre.
Yeah.
I guess, sure. Yeah, why wouldn't they do that?
why wouldn't you go to space? I mean, the Leprechaun went to space, Sean. Why wouldn't Two Point Campus go to space?
So did Jason.
It's true. Jason did go to space. But yeah, like Two Point Campus, again, was a really fun game that came out earlier this year.
Yep.
Not one of my favorite games of the year or anything like that, but it was a pretty good, school building simulator. And I totally thought, like, as soon as I saw this, especially because the base game's on Game Pass, and this is like 10 or 15 bucks, I'm like, this is a Sean Capri experience, I think.
I'm down.
It might be worth going in just for that. But the other DLC piece of news that I wanted to touch on, because I know I caught at least Court Lavon very excited, and I'm curious to know what you think about this one, Sean. Speaking of space DLC, Ubisoft have announced that Far Cry 6 is getting a standalone expansion in the same vein as something like Blood Dragon called Lost Between Worlds. As Danny Rojas, you travel between different worlds and space. It'll launch on December 6th for $19.99, or as part of the Far Cry 6 Game of the Year edition. I remember you liking Far Cry 6 a lot last year, Sean. So does this do anything for you? Like a very spacey, like alternate dimension kind of Far Cry 6 adventure?
My reaction to this is only basically, I think I might be like running out of gas, even just being excited about how many things there are to play. And I feel like, and this is maybe just a general DLC thing, I feel like I got my Far Cry fix. And the same would go, I would say, for Assassin's Creed, especially because I think when you add up all the expansions and DLC for Assassin's Creed, it's probably like double or triple the original game size. Like, just the amount of game for these things is amazing. But I'm just glad. I feel like this is a little late. Is actually my real take on this. It's true. It's like
more than a year later.
Yeah. Like they needed to maybe keep the momentum going with Far Cry, and just Ubisoft in general. It's like, man, we used to get such a crazy cadence from this publisher where there's always something that was actually really worth your time and attention to play, and now they're a little more scattered. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I get distracted. I found Forza this year, you know, again.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, this year has actually been like a pretty good year for DLC. Like we also had the Shadows of Rose DLC for Resident Evil 8, as well as a bunch of other stuff this year. So like, I do think that this is another in a trend of like, this will only be missed because of how many games there were this year, and not because of, I think, the quality. Because again, it looks really good, and this is something I could definitely see myself playing at some point. But it is kind of on the back burner for all the December games I kind of talked about earlier.
Weird timing, December, and I don't know. Maybe I need to look at calendar more closely. Like, would there have been a better time, January, February, or March, where this would come out? And maybe to the earlier point.
No, it would have been like right at the beginning of January, maybe.
Right.
Because like that's like the one lull between now and Resident Evil 4 at the end of March at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, cool.
Anyways,
we'll see.
Let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool. And by the way, shout out to everyone for providing some awesome questions this week.
And everybody in the chat, we see you. This is amazing to see everybody here. I'm just really grateful that we got a great community going on here, Ryan Turford.
Absolutely. So we're going to start with Kevin Ainsworth, the Muffin Mon, who says, I'm 6 missions away from wrapping up Evil West. And while the gameplay is a lot of fun, I haven't the slightest idea as to what's going on with the story. Wondering if this game is on either of y'all's radars, and if not, why not? At this point, Kevin, like Evil West is one of those games where it's like, this is the most like modern Xbox 360 or PS3 game I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's all the more reasons why I'm swimming in games at this point, and that's why I'm kind of not willing to jump into it. Not only that, it's also a Wild West game, which I personally don't really care about, as Sean knows. Because Sean knows I hate cowboys, just like I hate pirates. So it takes a lot for me to get into like a Western game of some kind. And I mean, I know it's not just, your traditional Western thing. There is some, otherworldly elements to it, but no, I don't care about Evil West. But Sean, what do you think?
Mostly concerned with your prejudice against any group, including cowboys and pirates, Ryan. That's my big takeaway there. No, this is not, I don't know. No, thank you. Cool.
No.
If Kevin would get a job, he would understand that you have to be kind of selective with your time in the games that you play, but he doesn't have a job, so he plays whatever he wants to play. And I have no commentary on the game that we're talking about. It's just I wanted to throw it out there that Kevin clearly does not have a job. So get a job, Kevin.
Sure. All right. Next up, we got Skinny Matt, who asked the question, what was the most fun game Game Pass this month, and why is your answer Vampire Survivors? Fun fact, Skinny Matt, neither of us have played Vampire Survivors.
I gotta get to it.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, honestly, out of all the Game Pass games in November, I mean, it's not the most fun, but it's definitely the best game. I think the best game is still Pentiment to come out on Game Pass in November. But, I don't know. We'll have to get to Vampire Survivors at some point, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
It's got vampires, and you survive, apparently. You should play it at some point.
That's true. That's what you do in Vampire Survivors.
Yep.
I love it, man.
All right. Next
Soccer
question.
Story just came out too, man. That looks good too.
That's true. Yeah, we actually have a review coming pretty soon for that as well. So look out for that on the channel. Next up, Blaze Knight asks, what are some games that you'd like to see get dynamic themes on Xbox? Ooh, I like this one. So, Sean, to give you some time to think, because I thought about this one a little bit. First of all, none of them are first-party games. I think we've got, other than Gears, which I think is the one that's kind of missing a dynamic theme at this point from first-party games. I most of my picks are going to be third-party games. I want to see like a Resident Evil dynamic theme. I think that would be pretty cool. I want to see a Persona themed.
Oh, that's the
theme.
correct answer, dude. That is the absolute best answer.
Especially with P5, or like I would love to see one for all three Persona games, Persona 3, 4, and 5. I would love to see them all get dynamic themes. That would be super cool, and especially because like we've seen the Persona themes on PlayStation 4 back when PlayStation had themes on their console, and all those themes were dope. Like they were really, really, really cool. So that's what I'd like to see. Also, just shout out to Mega Man. I'd love to see a Mega Man, dynamic theme as well. But Sean, what about you?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, it's an interesting question because you go like, are we just talking about some of our favorite games? Like, is it the soundtracks? Like, what makes for some of our favorite dynamic themes that we would want? But man, like, because I think about like Ori, I think would just be gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Overall, and oddly enough, this might kind of come out of nowhere, and it might be because I was listening to Todd Howard on the Lex Friedman podcast. I don't know if you saw this. But Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, I think would be really cool to see. I'd like the overall just soundtrack that I could imagine like popping up when you select a thing, and the artwork and just style of Fallout I think is really cool as well. But dude, like you go through the list, Mass Effect and some of your favorite games of all time, like my background right now is Tales of Arise, like a screenshot I've got of Sean. So that's how you have to say her name.
For sure. Of course. I remember this, I think, from our conversation last year about
yes.
it. But,
what a great
the reason
game.
why I picked Persona is because all the games are very focused, are like very stylized.
Very visual.
Color and stuff. So that's why I thought they'd make like the perfect themes.
Well, and you're right. Like I had the dynamic theme on PS4 for Persona 5, which was awesome. So, yeah.
And also, like the Persona 3 Dancing All Night theme was like my favorite theme on PlayStation 4. Like that theme is so good. So, there you go. And then last question of the week comes to us from Shrucker Sloth, which is asked a two-parter here. So we'll start with the first one. When do y'all think they'll finally release more story-based DLC for Halo Infinite? Honestly, like when we talked about it at the beginning of the year, I honestly thought this was the year they were going to do it, because I think the original plan was they were supposed to release new content, like a new epilogue for the game sometime this year. Because that was kind of the plan all along. They're like, instead of making a new Halo game, we're just going to keep building on Halo Infinite, and that will be our Halo story going forever. But I think it's very far away, or they might have just canceled it entirely. But I think the next time we'll see it will be either end of 2023 or beginning of 2024 is what I'll say. But what do you think, Sean?
Oh, that is so far away. The correct time was when they launched online campaign co-op. It should have been right alongside that. That would have been the best thing ever. And, it's funny because we haven't really been talking about this too much when discussing the just totally unfortunate situation that we find Halo in, when thinking, like, what's next for it? And we always like, oh, there's more content, or is it Battle Royale, blah, blah. Like, I think it's the campaign. I feel like when people were saying so many positive things about Halo last year, it was because we all really enjoyed the campaign. And in order to get a little bit more positivity surrounding this title, I think it's in the campaign. So the sooner the better. It doesn't have to be enormous. Like, I just think that, like, let's just make it bite size, and then we can play it together. Give us a reason to go do the online co-op, because as it turned out, even though they launched that feature, as much as I said I thought I was going to do it, I did not go on and replay the campaign and do it in a campaign co-op kind of situation. So yeah, the sooner the better, but I don't think we have really any indication other than they're just scrambling at this point to get anything moving. Yeah,
exactly. Like I think their first goal is just to get people to play the multiplayer again, let alone.
But that's the thing. That's where I think the problem is. I actually think that the better way to do it would be more story-driven content. I feel like that's the strength of it. And yeah, I feel like that would be so good. That would be great, actually. Yeah.
So then,
and shadow drop it is actually the thought I was trying to get back to some. Don't give us a roadmap actually for this, because they keep missing their timelines. They keep saying like this is totally happening. Just surprise us next week.
Take the way forward approach and literally announce when it's coming out a week before it comes out.
I think that would be cool. You take the Nintendo approach overall of just like tomorrow we have a special presentation for you, and it's going to detail what's coming for Halo. And by the way, what that is going to be referring to is something that's coming to Halo the following week. Like, make it punchier. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, I am not necessarily interested in the future 9 months of Halo. Like, I don't plan that way. Like, that's cool, I guess, to some people, but I kind of just want to know what's happening sooner than that. I already know certain things are coming eventually. Tell me when they're ready. I'm good.
Yeah. All right. And then Chucker's last follow-up question is, do you think if/when the Activision deal finally gets approved, do you think there will be a Halo mobile game in the same style as Call of Duty Mobile in the future? We do know, of course, Phil Spencer has been on record saying, multiple times that one of the key parts of this deal is King and breaking into the mobile market. So does that mean maybe they'll bring their IPs to mobile? Maybe. I don't know if they're going to do a Halo mobile like this, though, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't see them doing that. I think they might just double down on Call of Duty Mobile, and then if they break into mobile at all, maybe they do, I don't know, something like Fable or something that's in a different genre besides Call of Duty Mobile, because they've already kind of maybe got that market cornered a little bit with Call of Duty Mobile. But what do you think about this, Sean?
I think the game that we're gonna get is a Gears of War Candy Crush with Marcus O'Neill's various vegetables, like his tomatoes and everything else that he's growing in his garden. I'm sorry, Marcus Phoenix. Did I say Marcus O'Neill?
You did.
Well, he's a good man too. But you know what? Put Marcus O'Neill's garden in there as well. No, Marcus Phoenix's his garden. Put his tomatoes in there. You match it up, and it's all juicy and tasty, and all the rest from Candy Crush. That's what I want. My
God, that's a pretty good idea. That is actually more likely what they would do.
You imagine?
Or they do like a Fire Emblem Heroes like gotcha style game with Viva Pinata or something like that.
It's like, all cute and everything in the Gears of War, but then at the top, like when you do something amazing, like Marcus Phoenix is gonna rip somebody to shreds with his lance.
Also, kind of like Gears Pop in that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great game too. We already have a Gears. Oh man.
Yeah.
I think we have like a league for the Xbox driver, a guild of some sort.
We did for the longest time.
Did it die?
Yeah, that was a thing. That was around the time when I joined the show too.
Yeah. Let us know, everybody, if you want us to bring back Gears Pop.
Yeah, just like alongside the World of Warcraft guild we're apparently forming. But anyways, Sean, we gotta go. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
You can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants, and hopefully very soon find my controllers all cozied up in nice little hoodies, my friend. And also, like you alluded to at the start of the show, Sweet Hanks is one of my favorite things, along with everything. Like, everything's tied for the most favorite. But I really enjoyed my Sweet Hang with Donnie Reese, 4.5-hour podcast, and we talked about absolutely everything you could imagine. And also, the Nintendo Drive is my Nintendo show that I do with Seth and Lachlan from Carpool Gaming. We also launched an exclusive show it's a post show. And yesterday we talked all about Seth and his journey as a full-time content creator and taking that leap of faith, man. It was totally unexpected. Very cool conversation, and you can only get it at the $3 tier and up at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. That's it for me, my friend.
Very nice, my friend. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You can find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, on YouTube at youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, and on podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 268 of the Xbox Drive, and we out. Ball.
I'm going to try to remember all the games that I got to play for my cramming for Game of the Year. And Ryan, this is the first time in a long time that I've actually done one of these things where I scream at the end and say things and hold my breath for a really long time. I've been training in the pool at Millennium Place, which is the place where I go work out. I'm going to play Pentiment and Sonic Frontiers and maybe even Elden Ring. And there's so many other games that I would like to play. Let's see what we can do at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. Bye, Bob!
Greater than X.
Surprise, we're back.